Hey everybody, this is Ryan Howard and welcome to the Philly Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. It is Friday, September 26, 2025. How is everybody? The Phillies and Twins open a 3-game series on Friday night at Citizens Bank Park. It's Aaron Nola against Joe Ryan. The Phillies right now are almost locked into the number 2 seed for the postseason. It would take a Phillies sweep and the Brewers getting swept for the Phillies to get the number 1 seed. But we've got a special show for you today. We've got a very special guest, and let's talk about him. It's time for the Parks First Pitch. First Pitch is brought to us exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Jim, we've got somebody on the show today that you and I know for sure, have been wanting to have for a long time, and that is Phillies legend Larry Bowa. Larry was the first manager I covered back in 2003. I did not know what the hell I was doing, but so I learned as much as I possibly could from Larry Bowa. I always love talking to Larry Bowa during the season, and he's always around the ballpark in spring training. And I love those little chats with him on the half field. I know you feel the same way. You've had a long, long relationship with Larry.
Yeah. And that was a baptism by fire for you covering Larry Bowa because, he can be a little intimidating. He's got that, that resume and that personality. He don't pull no punches. If he doesn't like one of your questions, he's going to challenge you. But one of my all-time favorite people in baseball. Love talking baseball with him. Love talking life with him. Just love being around him. Love his energy. Love his wit. And I go back to what Ed Wade said on our podcast 5 or 6 weeks ago, and again on the night he was enshrined on the Wall of Fame. Ed Wade called Larry Bowa the smartest baseball man he's ever met, ever been around, smartest baseball man he knows. I would concur. Yeah. I've learned a lot of baseball by watching Larry coach, manage, and by talking to him. He is a marvel. He's 79 years old. He looks 39. He's in great shape. Still throws BP.
He does. It's amazing.
And he is currently finishing up. And he's still in uniform before games, working with the infielders. Him and Bobby Dickerson, the infield coach, have this great relationship, and they work with Bowman, Turner, and Stott. And he's out there hitting ground balls. He's working with guys. He's chirping, like Larry, getting under guys' skin, motivating. That's the way he motivates. But this is his 60th year in professional baseball. 41 of them with the Phillies, and that's coming to a close. And you're right. We've been wanting to have Larry on for a while, but we wanted to pick the right time, right before the playoffs, because this team wants it bad, the city wants it bad, and Larry wants it bad. He wants a championship bad. But he walked the miles in the same spikes that these guys are walking in. He was part of a young nucleus with the Phillies in the early 70s that came to flower and won divisions in 76, 77, 78. Couldn't get over the hump. Finally got over the hump in 1980 and won a World Series. So you can see some parallels with this team. 3 straight trips to the postseason has not gotten over the hump. So I think it's an interesting week, interesting timing to talk to Larry as the postseason gets set to begin next week. And one of the things I want to ask him about is how much he believed in this team, because he really did in this 2025 team. And he really does. And I have an anecdote to kind of prove that going back 6 or 7 months. So can't wait to talk to him. And I'm sure we'll have a few laughs, and I'm sure we'll learn a little baseball, because anytime you tap into that, that well, you come out of there drinking some knowledge.
Every time you talk to Larry, you learn something.
So that was First Pitch, and is presented exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino. That's Pennsylvania's #1 casino. ParksCasino.com is the website. You must be 21 to participate. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Jim, as you know, we've got the PhillyShowShop.com. I wanted to mention that real quick. Scan the QR code on your screen. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can get some Philly Show swag in time for the postseason, or go to the PhilliesShowShop.com if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify. A lot of great stuff on there. We got some more stuff coming, so check that out. All right, without further ado, here is the legend himself, Larry Bowa. Larry, thanks for joining the show. You're talking right now to a couple of your former ball scribes that covered you. I mean, what a thrill for you, Larry.
Big time. I'm so excited about this. The last memory I have of Jimmy was me getting ready to throw him into a trash can after he was covering a ball game. No, I'm just kidding.
Really? I remember.
It was one of those questions where I had to scratch my head, and I said to myself, Jimmy, you're better than that. But you know what? He was trying to stir the pot a little bit. So, that's how it was. They don't do that anymore. You guys don't do that anymore.
Well, I remember the day in Fort Myers that you were really mad and you threatened to pick me up and throw me in the stands. And we just kind of laughed it off and we were fine. Today, that would be big news. Bowa threatens reporter.
I'd probably get fired for doing that. threatening a scribe.
But it was so obviously my first year on the beat was 2003, so I had to learn everything with you those first couple of years, and that was I definitely learned a lot. It was a heck of an experience. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, Larry.
Jim sort of set the stage for all the writers. He would ask the questions and then step back and get me going, and everybody'd be happy. That's how he did it.
I did know how to push your buttons.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. That was fun though. It was fun. You wouldn't do that now though, because the managers all have answers now. The analytics. This is the reason I made this move. The analytics did this. Back when we did it, there was a lot of second guessing. Why didn't you bring the lefty in? What are you doing? Is the game getting out of hand here? You can't a lefty on a lefty. That's what you got to do. But now it's whatever the numbers say. That's what we do, and it's a different game. There's no question. Different.
Your head would have exploded with all these numbers.
I wouldn't have looked at the number. I looked at them and just put it to the side here. You got to go with your gut. You guys know that. I mean, and analytics are good. There's a lot of good analytics. And there's no question about that. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there. And I'll give you a great example. I'm watching this last series with the Marlins, and their pitching coach is calling every pitch. And what were their 3 games, 12 home runs? I just think you got to let catchers read swings. You got to let pitchers read swings. And from the dugout, you don't know if a hitter's moving close to the plate, backing up, closer to the mound. You don't know any. You can't see that from the dugout. But yet they think that calling pitches is going to be the answer. It's going to be interesting how that plays out, because I think this is just me. If you have a veteran free agent, even though just say Miami has a lot of money to throw around, which they don't, right. But if they did, they might be a little leery going there with coaches calling every pitch and that. That's just my gut on that.
And you're right, because think about like JT Realmuto, a free agent, and again, say the Marlins had the money to pony up. You think JT Realmuto is going to want to go to Miami and not be able to call a pitch? He's so good at that, and he loves to read the swings, and he loves to see the positioning in the batter's box and all that stuff. There's no question.
There's no way. That's why he's one of the best catchers in baseball. And these catchers, they're starting to get like, they're very robotic now. They just, as soon as the pitch is thrown, they throw it back, and they're looking over in the dugout. And, part of the maturation of a good catcher is being able to read swings, taking a look at their stance in the box. Are they, like I said, are they close to the plate? Are they off the plate? And just say you have a pitcher that's got a great breaking ball, and this is what we're going to do with this team. We're going to attack this team with breaking balls. What if he can't get it over that night? Well, you got to have a plan B. You got to have a plan C. And I don't know if they have that. I think that this is what we're going to do tonight. Let's see if it works. But we'll see what happens. I know our pitchers and our pitching coach, they do a great job. And JT has a lot to do with that. They're definitely ready every game. They know what they want to do. They know how they want to attack hitters. I really like not only our team, but I really like our coaching staff. We got a bunch of coaches that work hard. There's no question about that.
FT Fam Superpower believes that every human has 100-year potential, and they're going to help you get there. I like the sweatshirt, Eric Kratz, and I also love the way that Superpower takes care of its members.
Yeah. You go get your lab test, you become the best you. You be a member of this group, and your test will come back. It's unlocking things that you didn't know about yourself. This is stuff that players used all the time. You can do it now too.
Exactly, Kratz. How many of you have gone to a doctor's appointment? You get the classic, oh, you're fine, or just drink more water. No real data, no real game plan. With one simple blood draw with Superpower and over 100 biomarkers, that is way more than what you'd usually get, and it unlocks so much more about your own body. Head to superpower.com to learn more and lock in the special $199 price while it lasts. After you sign up, they'll ask you how you heard about them. Please make sure to mention the FT podcast to support the show. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower.
Great coaching staff. Larry, 3 games to go in the regular season and postseason beginning game 1 of the NLDS on October 4th. Where do you think this team stands right now? You get in the National League in baseball.
If we play we don't have to do anything extra. If we play the way we're capable of, I don't see any team beating us in the National League. I really don't. And I'm not just saying that because I've been with the Phillies a long time. I look at our lineup. I look at our pitching. We can beat you 1-0 like we did last night. We can slug with you. We can steal bases. Our starting pitching's off the charts. I don't see any issues. Our big boys got a hit. There's no question about that. But if we go toe-to-toe with every one of these teams, I don't see any issues there. We just got to play the way we're capable of playing.
Ruben's here.
Hey, Ruben. What's up,
what's
buddy?
happening, Bo? I should
Not
have known
much.
you would be super early.
Yeah, this is great.
So that's how you work. Hey, I just had a quick question about, and you may have already covered this before I popped on, but Trea Turner's made sort of a massive turnaround as far as his overall defensive prowess. I mean, he's played a great shortstop lately. Talk about that. I know you've worked with him and Bobby Dickerson in spring training. And can you talk about a little bit of the things that he's done to get him to this space?
I think starting the first day of spring training, Bobby does a great job with the infielders. And he got Trea to buy in. Last year, Trea was he wasn't all in his mind. I think this spring he saw the analytics and where he ranked and everything. And I think he took it very personal. And he's worked extremely hard, getting good jumps on balls, playing under control. His throwing's been very accurate. I think he's done a tremendous job. But Bobby, it takes 2 there. Bobby's got him to work, and Trea was willing to work. And I think that had a lot to do with his success. And I think he's starting to realize, hey, if I go 0-for-4, I can still help us win this game. And that part of the mentality for Trea, he's always been a great offensive player. And I think he thought maybe, hey, I get 3 hits tonight. If I make an error, hey, so be it. But I think he's taking it very personal now, and he doesn't want to be embarrassed out there. And I think he's done a great job, along with Bobby, taking him out every single morning in spring training. And to this day, as we speak, they still go out early and take their ground balls. And hopefully he's ready. I think the biggest thing right now is running. I watched him yesterday. He said he feels okay, but he's not ready mentally to let it go 100%. So we'll see how that plays out.
To what do you attribute the fact that part of it, the defensive part of it, has not really been brought up? He's been on 3 or 4 different organizations now. And why did that happen from the beginning? Like when he was San Diego or Washington? Why is it because of his athleticism and his offensive prowess? And they just said, hey, you just go do your thing? Or why is defense not an important piece?
You hit it right on the head. Everyone said, well, as long as he hits 320, don't worry about it. I really believe that. And last year when he was struggling a little bit, not only offensively, but defensively, it was getting to him. And usually he had that safety net. If he was playing bad in the field, he'd get his 2 or 3 hits every night, steal a couple bases, make things happen on the base pass. And I think mentally he was like, hey, I'm doing all right offensively. And if I make a mistake here, I'll make up for it when I get in the batter's box. But I think Now he's able to separate the 0 for 3, go out in the field and play defense. And I think that's a big step for him because the offense has always been easy for him. And the defense, he's going to have to continue to work, and he's willing to work. I think that's the big thing. And there's a big trust there. When you come over to an organization, you have no idea what your infield coach is, what your manager is all about, what the atmosphere is in the ballpark. And I think it was a big adjustment for him that Bobby really stressed defense with him, and he went out there and worked his butt off, and it's paid off. There's no question about that.
So, Larry, going back to spring training this year, I remember talking to you one day, and you had just read an article on the on the internet or something, or a newspaper, that picked the Phillies to finish third in the NL East, and you were on fire about it. You were like, "Are you bleeping kidding me?" But we got into this conversation, and I ended up writing a story about it. And I looked up the story this morning, and it got a couple quotes out of it, and I want to run them back at you because they were great observations on your part. You know, you first of all, you said there's no way we're a third place team, we're the best team in the division, blah blah blah. You've proven that to be right. And then you said, you know, about coming up short in the playoffs. Right. And your teams did that. 76, 77, 78, you didn't get there. 80, you got over the hump. So there are those similarities. Anyway, you said it leaves a scar when you come up short. I don't care how much money you make, it leaves a scar. And then you went on to talk about the need to, you know, win in October and go deep with this particular team. And you said you only get so many chances. That window shuts. And when it shuts, it slams hard.
It does slam hard. And we're all getting in that. We're when I say we, our team is getting to that situation right now. I'm not saying there's not more in the tank here, but we can't keep letting these things slip away like this. And it seems lately, well, last year it was obviously the bullpen. Before that, it was the offense. We got to put the whole package together here. And as you guys, all three of you guys know, the best team doesn't always win the World Series. It's the team playing the best. Mm-hmm. And this is a crapshoot right now. You're starting to get into the best of 3, the best of 5. You can't give games away. You got to take care of business at home if you got home field advantage, and you can't give away outs. You got to make them earn all 27 outs. Pitchers got to keep doing what they're doing. Our pitching staff has been I never seen a pitching staff carry a team this long. I've seen stretches, but this pitching staff has been unbelievable from day one, and hopefully they can continue to do that. And I think that's why our bullpen's a strength for us, because our starters have pitched a lot of innings. I mean, we got Lazaro. Did anyone think Lazaro was going to do what he's done this year? Unbelievable. And Sanchi, he's come out of nowhere. Ranger, and I still believe in Aaron Nola. So I feel good about this team. I would be very disappointed if we don't go where we're supposed to go. I mean that. And I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm just looking at every position, what we do offensively, what we do defensively, our pitching. I don't see anything in our way except ourselves. If we don't hit the way we're supposed to, it could be an issue. There's no question about that.
What about like the pressure you guys felt in 80? Like everybody kind of knew if you didn't win it, they were going to make some big time changes, and not necessarily this team is going to make big time changes, but you have Schwarber's a free agent, Realmuto's a free agent, Suarez is free agent. You know, maybe they do make some moves. How did you guys handle that pressure, or how much did you feel that pressure going into the 80 postseason? And then how did you
know what,
Tom, over it?
You know what? Willie Carpenter had a meeting with us, the core group of guys, and said, "Hey guys," and Willie was a great owner. He was really tight with everybody, and he laid it out. He said, "If we don't get to where we want to go this year, I'm gonna have to do something drastic." And he says, "I'm not making a threat." And Willie wasn't a guy that said, "You better win or you guys are out of here." He was very diplomatic about it. He says, "You know what? People are getting tired of watching us get to the playoffs, and we're coming up short." And, you start thinking about, he's right, and it didn't matter. Even the teams we were playing, the Dodgers and the Big Red Machine, they were really good teams. But, we felt, especially the third time, we thought we could play with these guys. And it was always a pitch, a play, an umpire, whatever it was, we kept coming up short. And I think this team's starting to get that feeling that you could feel that in the atmosphere in spring training. they want to get to where they want to go. There's no question. They're getting tired of coming up short. And as you read that quote, Jimmy, the money's out of the question right now. They don't care. They want to win that ring. You have a team like this that's dominated, and you come up short and don't get to a World Series. That's gonna haunt you the rest till your playing days are over. Because this is a good baseball team. Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton, they've done a great job putting this team together. The pieces are there, and now it's up to the players. There's no question about that.
So the Phillies, when I think of the postseason, and I think you're a great guy for me to ask this question because you were a player, but you also were, with the Dodgers and the Yankees, you were in the dugout as a coach on teams that had a lot of expectations and played in the postseason. The Phillies have this great home field advantage. They're like 27 games, 8 games over 500 at home. They sell the place out. It's a great environment, year after year. But they have actually lost 3 of their last 4 home playoff games. And I'm just wondering if the expectations at home, because, you want it so bad in the clubhouse and the dugout, and now 48,000 people or 45,000 people, they want it so bad. And if you fall behind earlier, if things don't go well, you can almost feel the tension rise in that building because everybody wants it so bad. I'm wondering if playing at home, in addition to providing comfort and maybe an advantage over the course of the season, if it can provide some anxiety if things aren't going well in the postseason, and if it does, how do you deal with that?
You're right. I mean, you don't want to get behind early because the fan base is going to do just like all fan bases do. Here we go again. We do what we're supposed to do during the season, and now the playoffs start. Personally, I would rather start on the road and try to split wherever you're at and then come home. Because whoever comes here, whether it's this is definitely a home field advantage.
Okay.
This ballpark,
You start that over.
I'm telling you, this ballpark, if you're a young team, just say Cincinnati gets in, they're in for an unbelievable welcome when they come here. Because you got young kids, they have no idea what to expect. But you got to hope that we get the momentum early. If we can get the momentum early and do what we're supposed to, I don't see any issues here with this baseball team. I really don't.
Larry, Rob Thomson has employed like 3 different platoons. I don't know what he's going to do in the postseason. Maybe he goes Stott and Sosa at second base, but he's got the platoons in left and right. And does it remind you a little bit of what Fergosi did in '93? And just do you see the buy-in from these guys?
I do. And you know what, Todd? That's the big deal, the buy-in. The guys that are doing it, they got to buy in. If you have guys that say, I don't want to do this, and that team that Jimmy Fergosi had, they all bought in and they all played the way they're supposed to play. I know Cassidy's made a couple comments. Personally, if I had a player that wants to play every day, I'd be happy with that. You want your players to want to play every day. But Thompson's done a great job the way he's handled it. That's not an easy job. When you have a real good team, I think it's better to manage a team where the expectations they're there, but they're not like they are with our ball club right now. That's why I think Rob's done a great job with his team, whether it be giving guys rest, taking pitchers out when he's supposed to, bringing in certain pitchers. I think he's done a tremendous job, and all those minor league bus trips that he had and coaching under Joe Torre, I'm sure he learned a lot through his experiences there. But I think he's done a tremendous job. When you have this many alpha dogs on a team and you keep the ship afloat, I think that's very important. And Rob's definitely done that.
Is there a team that you wouldn't want to play in the postseason?
I don't care who we. Well, you got to look at the Dodgers right now. If their pitchers, if they pitch the way they're supposed to, now Ohtani and Yamamoto, those two pretty good arms right out of the gate. Their bullpen's an issue. And there's no question about that. If there's one team that plays the game it's Milwaukee could be a tough draw. They just nothing great. They just do everything really good. They move runners. They put the ball in play. They can score from first on doubles. Great secondary lead. Pitchers throw strikes. They never beat themselves. But there, with the exception of Yelich, I can't think of any great players. I mean, Yelich is the key guy there. And I think that Murphy's done a great job with that ball club, their mindset and their ability to what they have to do in certain situations. You see guys in the third inning, I've watched them play a lot. Their guy hits a double, you can see him trying to hit a ball to second base. They play the game the right way. And if things click for them, they could be a tough out for somebody.
Book, a beautiful poker room, the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, and a collection of award-winning restaurants. Tons of places to go eat. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Tickets are on sale now for all of these headliners. Now listen to this. Just announced, coming November 26th, comedian Joey Diaz. You have September 26th, the Revivalists. September 27th, comedian Russell Peters. October 4th, Kansas. The 24th, Everclear. The 25th, Almost Queen. And then the 21st, Air Supply, man. Remember that? You're all out of love, man. You're all out of love. No, November 22nd is comedian Brian Regan. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all these shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Bo, talk about how difficult it is and how important it is. You know, people don't talk about it during the regular season. Obviously, the Milwaukee Brewers and there's some other teams that have maximized that playing baseball the right way. Talk about how difficult it is to do that and play that way, and how important it is to play that way in the playoffs, because most teams rely on the home run. The Yankees rely on the home run. Sometimes the Phillies will rely on the home run. There are some teams that rely on their offensive prowess rather than the situational hitting that is necessary or situational pitching that's necessary. Talk about how difficult it is in that setting to try to change the way you play.
No question. It's really hard, especially when you go the whole year, you don't lay down any sacrifice bunts. Now all of a sudden you're in the best of 5 and you got to move a runner and you put a bunt sign on it. And of course, the commentators say, well, there's no way he's going to bunt. He hasn't bunted in the last 3 years. Now you expect him to lay down a bunt. That's why it's important to do these little things before you get to the playoffs, because you can't give away outs. You can't leave runners in scoring position at a rate that's unbelievable. You got to manufacture runs sometimes. And Ruben, as you said, there's not very many games that's 9-8 in the playoffs. You got to win 3-2, 2-1, whether it be a good base running play, with a guy stealing a bag, scoring from first, good secondary leads. There's so many ways you can win baseball games besides what we try to put in these guys' heads: hit the ball in the seats, pitchers strike out everybody. The game is different. You don't start off with a ghost runner now, so you're playing extra innings. You should be able to move a runner. I'm not saying a guy like Harper or Schwarber. There's certain guys on a ball club that you got to lay down a bunt, lay down the bunt. You got to push a ball to second base right-handed. You got to do that. You got to give yourself up. These outs are so important. And when you start giving them away and not taking advantage of bases loaded and 1 out and you don't score a run, that comes back and haunts you, believe me. The whole key to this, especially the first 3 of these guys play, is momentum. You get a little momentum going on your side. That's why I thought when we played Arizona, and all we had to do is come home and win 1 game. I'd have bet everything I own that we're going to win 1 game here. And you saw what happened. We played a team that was hot. They pitched against us like every hitter was Babe Ruth. We were swinging at everything, and they beat us. And you look back at that and you go, how'd that happen?
A follow-up question to that is, so it begs the question to me, if those are the most important games and the way to play it, the most important games, then why is it not stressed during the course of the season and in the minor leagues throughout baseball? And why have we gotten away from it?
I agree with you. It's unbelievable. I agree with you 100% on that. We don't stress that. When I say we, I'm talking about the industry. We don't stress the little things during the course of the season, but we expect these guys, regardless of how much money they're making, you better execute here. You better lay down a bunt. When I put a hit and run on, you better put the ball on the ground. We don't stress that. And we expect them, they're human. They go 162 games, but they don't do any of that. And all of a sudden they say, oh man, I got a bunt. I got to lay this ball down, or I got to hit the ball to the right side. You can't expect those guys to do that. That's why I think the minor leagues are, especially low A, the 2 low A teams, or one's low A, one's higher A. Start getting those guys' mindset into playing the game. You can still use analytics. Analytics are important. There's a lot of good analytics, but teach them how to win baseball games when the game's on the line, seventh, eighth, ninth inning. It's not about hitting balls in the seats every night. Those are great. 3-run homers are the greatest thing in the world, but they don't happen that much in the playoffs and World Series. And when it does happen, man, you feel like, hey, we got this thing now. But you got to be able to execute other ways. And like you said, Ruben, make a pitch when you have to. But we need a ground ball here. Make a pitch. And I think if our pitchers continue to do what they've done, we've done that all year at a consistent level. And I think that's a big strength for us right now moving into the playoffs is our starting pitching.
You know, Larry, you mentioned Kyle Schwarber just a few minutes ago as one of the big boys. I know your good friend Charlie Manuel could talk baseball for, if you had a baseball telethon, you could talk for like 72 hours straight. I feel like Kyle Schwarber, I've heard teammates say that Kyle Schwarber, that guy, all he does is talk baseball. What have your conversations with him been like, and what have you admired about him as a player and his season?
First of all, he's really a humble dude, man. Hit this guy, he hit the 4 home runs in one game, and I went, man, nice going. He goes, can you believe I didn't hit that position player? He says, I was trying to hit one in the upper deck. And then he had it again the other night, and he popped one up too. So he's told me, he says, I'm not going to be a very good draft in a slow pitch softball because I can't hit that stuff. But Schwarb's he could play 20 years back. He could play 20 years forward. He's accountable. If he goes 0 for 4 and strikes out 3 times, nobody wants to talk to the media. He'll be front and center. He'll go out there and say, you know what, I stunk tonight, or we got to do this. He's a leader. He's a big time leader in the clubhouse, and guys sort of gravitate to him. You walk in that clubhouse, they're always talking baseball. He's just an old school guy that like I said, he's very humble. I said, man, I never seen guys hit balls like you. He goes, he says, as long as it goes over the fence. I said, you're hitting balls in the 3rd deck. But he's so strong. I never seen a guy. Schmitty was really strong, Bull, but his hands are so strong. And but we need him to do what he's done all year and get those big hits. But again, it's not my money. I hope he has the pinstripes on for the next 3, 4, 5 years because he's a big asset to our organization.
What's your prediction there?
On Schwarber?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble, but I think he's going to be wearing pinstripes. Yeah. That's just me. And I know he likes it here. Is he going to take the most money? I don't know. He's played it out this far. Knowing Schwarber, he wants to go where you got a chance to win. He wants to win. I think if somebody offered him buku bucks for a team that's the 2nd division team and another team that has a chance to get to the World Series, less money, he would go with a team that has a chance to go to the World Series.
I think we all kind of talked about this a number of times. We all think he's going to be back because his impact from the batter's box to the clubhouse to the community. And, with this ownership group, they ain't going any rebuilds. They're going to keep trying to win and win and win. And you need that power and you need that guy. And if they do win, Larry, so they've had 2 World Series parades in this town. And Ruben has ridden in both of them, which is amazing.
That is.
And you've ridden in one of them.
One of them.
Tell us, what do you remember about a great memory from that 80 parade and what it would be like for these guys?
It's the greatest feeling in the world. I try to tell these guys, you have no idea what it's like getting on those flatbeds or floats, whatever you want to call them. Right. In 80, literally we see tears of joy running down people's faces. They're saying, oh, I wish my mom was still alive, or I wish my dad was alive to see this, because it hasn't happened that much. And we've had some good teams here. Ruben's team was really good. Our team was really good. The 93 team was a good team. It's hard to win everything. Everything's got to go right. And that's why I think this year, the way it's played out so far, we've overcome some adversity with guys getting hurt. We've kept that momentum going straight ahead. They have no idea what it's like, a parade down Broad Street. And, you can talk to these guys, and I'm sure they're going, yeah, right. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And these fans, when they get behind you, it's unbelievable. Are they tough sometimes? No question. But I think in the long run, when you do what you're supposed to do and you play hard for them, they're going to come out in groves, like you saw the Eagle Parade and the Philly Parade, the Flyer Parade. Those are things that are etched in your mind forever and ever. And I just hope they're able to experience that, because if they don't, there's going to be a big void in their baseball career, because this is a team that's capable of having a parade down Broad Street. There's no question about that.
Just adds to somebody's legacy, like Bryce Harper needs that, he's going to make the Hall of Fame, but it's a little extra to be able to say 2025 World Series champion, 2-time NL MVP, whatever, 5-time All-Star, whatever he is. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola,
those guys are they're great players, but you look back at guys that never played in the World Series that were great players, and you read articles about that, and they say, "Man, I wish I could have gotten to a World Series." That's the ultimate goal. I mean, you from day one in February all the way till if this thing goes to November, and you're battling every single day. You're scrapping and you're tired, and yet you get through it. And then to have that last out and be the last team standing, it sends goosebumps up and down your spine. There's no doubt about that. And front office people putting teams together, they get frustrated. We keep coming up short, and I'm sure that our ownership group right now, as John Middleton said, I want that blah 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 trophy back here. He wants that trophy, and I hope he gets it this year, because the owners have gone way beyond the call of duty as far as giving the team what they need to do, whether it be in the middle of the season, whether it means what they did in the offseason. They've put the Phillies in a position to be a world championship team.
Well, Larry, one last one for me, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is what do you think of the additions they made at the trade deadline, specifically Duran and Bader, and how they've changed kind of the calculus for this team?
Unbelievable. And I didn't really, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I like Bader as a defensive player. I've watched him, but I'll tell you what, offensively, he's done unbelievable. And the way he covers ground out there, and he brings energy every night. And Duran, I mean, this guy's lights out. To have a closer like that, especially moving forward here, you don't want traffic in the ninth inning. You want boom, boom, get them out. Let's get out of here. And we got that right now. So they've done a tremendous job in getting what we need. Every year, it seems like whatever the deficiency is in our lineup, Dave goes out and fills that hole. You can only do so much. Now the ball's in the players' court right now. They got to respond. And I think, being around the clubhouse on home games, it's a team. They got a lot of energy right now, and they're getting close, and they want to get this thing going. And like I said, I expect some big things here down the stretch.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Great stuff, bro.
Thanks, Larry, for the time, man. We
Awesome,
appreciate
bro.
it. It was great.
All right, guys, and Jimmy,
Yes, sir.
keep the questions down now. Get good questions. Don't make anybody mad. We got good chemistry going in the clubhouse, and you get in somebody's face with that mic every now and then, you get a little carried away. So let's keep the boat nice and even keel.
Yeah.
No tough questions for the players, okay?
Okay, I'll try to be a wimp.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding you.
I know.
Oh my God. That's great stuff. Thanks again to Larry Bowa for the time. Before you go, we've got another awesome giveaway from Scheib Vintage Sports. Check this out, guys. A Phillies prize pack. You've got a 1980 World Champions of Baseball t-shirt, a 1980s Philadelphia Phillies maroon cap, a Phillies photo history book, a Scheib Vintage Sports tote bag, 2 Phil stickers. If you're watching us on YouTube, scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you to scheibsports.com/TPS. You enter your email address. You're entered for the contest. Last week, it was Martin Bryant from Philadelphia won. Again, scheibsports.com/TPS. And here's the best part. Everyone who enters any weekly giveaway will automatically be entered for the big end of the season prize, which is a year's supply of t-shirts from scheibsports.com. I'm sporting one right now. Jim's got a bunch.
I got a few.
They're awesome. And here's the thing with Scheib. Every week we do a This Week in Phillies or Philly baseball history. and this is a good one because it's like super timely, Jim. September 22nd, this week in baseball history, 2006, Ryan Howard hits the 58th home run of the season, a single season franchise record. And it's timely because Kyle Schwarber goes into the final weekend of the season sitting on 56. He has a chance to tie or break Ryan Howard's record. And we literally coincidentally had Ryan Howard on the show earlier this week on Monday. If you haven't checked that out, definitely go back and listen to it. Jim, what was your favorite part maybe of the Ryan Howard interview?
Well, first of all, it's, anytime I am privileged enough to watch an interview with Ryan, I enjoy it because he's always been a first-class gentleman back to the days he was coming up as a minor leaguer and then hitting home runs for the Phillies. And then, with you and Ruben the other day, I don't know. I love hearing Chase Utley's stories about his little intensity, shall we say, in the batter's box. It was fun to hear him talk about working with Kyle Schwarber a little bit, working out with him in Tampa back in early part of Schwarber's playing days and the latter part of Howard's playing days. So, and obviously the big similarity there, the two big sluggers, and Schwarber trying to chase him down this weekend, and Ryan, being the gentleman he is and class guy he is, he's pulling for Schwarber all the way. So that was a very, very enjoyable interview.
Yeah, that was great. He hit the 58th home run against Ricky Nolasco. You remember that 50 home run game, Jim? He hit 3 bombs off of Tim Hudson.
Oof, I remember that.
That was, just an incredible season by Howard back in 2006 when he won the NL MVP award. It'd be interesting to see where Schwarber ends up for the NL MVP award. Shohei, like we said earlier this week on the show, he's probably going to win it. But I think if there's people pay close attention, Schwarber should probably hit second. But yeah, Ryan was great. And he was at the ballpark the other day. He might be at the ballpark tonight. So on Friday night. So if Kyle's going to do it, maybe tonight's the night. He wants Ryan Howard in the house to do it. And he's certainly capable. But anyway, so again, go to shivesports.com/TPS for a chance to win that Phillies prize pack. And again, once you enter for a chance to win a year's supply of t-shirts for shivesports.com. Thanks to everybody for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Larry Bowa. The Philly Show will be back next week.
Smell you later, guys.
Smell ya.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.